Well, folks, you're probably going to need to hang on to your seats for this one. You're not going to believe the latest excuse from CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, when it comes to collapsing Disney World attendance. Yes, it is, in fact, on par with how bad Snow White and the Seven Hippies is. Well, maybe it's worse, because Disney World is supposed to be making way more money than that movie ever thought about making. And Bob Iger? Well, he has an excuse for it, all right. It's too dang hot. All right, diving straight in today, we have, out of the New York Post, Bob Iger. Not at all concerned about Disney World traffic, blames drops on COVID and hot weather. Bob Iger appears to think that he's back in 2000 or 2021. He seems to have forgotten that Disney World exists in Florida. And guess what? They have hot weather during the summers. It's never stopped people before. So here we go. This by Shannon Thaler. Disney CEO Bob Iger pushed back on reports of worrisome drops in Disney World attendance. This comes out of that interview that he did with CNBC, folks, claiming that foot traffic is down because of difficult comparisons with 2020, when Florida's lax COVID restrictions sparked an unusual boom at the theme park. Also known as, hey, it really worked. Florida opened up early, and it created a huge demand. It didn't have competition because there were a number of other states that were not open yet, Iger said during a televised CNBC interview on Thursday. Well, this is a cute excuse for the fact that there is nobody at Disney World, and yet Universal Studios is packed to the gills. But hey, let's keep on and see what Iger has to say. Since 2019, lines for attractions at Magic Kingdom, Disney's most visited park, have gotten increasingly shorter, it was reported this week. Average wait times fell from 47 minutes per ride in 2019 to 31 minutes in 2022, according to the Wall Street Journal. It's almost as if those wait times are correlating somehow with the box office. Who could have ever foreseen it? So far this year, lines at Magic Kingdom are averaging 27 minutes, according to the Journal. Shrinking wait times are also reportedly a trend that are apparent at Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom, aka everything that doesn't have the castle. In response, Iger told CNBC that in 2020, Florida was the only game in town, suggesting that wait times have dropped because there's much more competition today, and he's not at all concerned that attendance would continue to drop and affect business over time. Oh, bunkus! Oh, bunkus, I say, Bob! There is no way on God's green earth, although I know you probably have to say this sort of thing, but there is no way on God's green earth that you are not interested and worried about the fact that there's nobody inside your parks, and there's no reason for it. Disney World is supposed to stand above and beyond any competition that exists. It always has. It's the crown jewel, the gem of the world when it comes to vacationing. It is the vacation nation, and it is the castle that stands upon all of that. It is the center of the kingdom. And guess what? Nobody is leisuring in Walt Disney World for some reason. They are everywhere else. And no, it's not because they got their Disney fun out of their system back in 2020. That is a bunch of craziness. CNBC interviewer David Faber asked the House of Mouse boss if the company's warring lawsuits with Governor Ron DeSantis could be impacting attendance. No, Iger said definitively. We see no sign of that at all. Oh, I see. Then it's because of the pandemic that is no more, and it's because of the hot weather that always is because it's Florida. Okay, well, that makes sense. Iger also said that the Journal's report of declining attendance failed to take into account that Orlando's temperatures soared about 100 degrees and 99% humidity in the summer. Well, thank goodness Iger has realized that. Maybe they should build this thing somewhere else. Move it to New Jersey. Oh, wait. Disney World has been there since the 1960s, and guess what? This has always been the case. And guess what? People have always flocked to that place, just like they always flock to Florida, because they love it. They love the sunshine. They love the heat. Yes, they don't mind too much sweating it out with their families in line. No, because they know they can go to the pool later. And they're doing it because they love it. They love the warm weather. Well, Iger apparently has forgotten that. He added that Independence Day's figures are inaccurate measures of year-over-year declines, as it only accounted for a single day. It's the 4th of July, Bob! It's your biggest day of the year, Bob! We do not have long-term concerns about that business, Iger added, of the Orlando theme park. Well, you didn't have long-term concerns about the box office, did you? Did you, Bob? You didn't have long-term concerns about Indiana Jones, did you, Bob? You didn't have long-term concerns about Star Wars, did you, Bob? Did you, Bob? Did you, Bob? Orlando's Walt Disney World closed its doors for the pandemic on March 16, 2020, and was permitted to reopen just 4 months later in July of 2020. And you'll remember, folks, that for all the crying and all the lambasting of places in the world that opened up as soon as they were allowed to reopen. By golly gee whiz, they sure did. They opened it up. For reference, California officials didn't allow Disneyland's West Coast Park to reopen until April 30th, 2021, more than 1 year after its initial closure. Did them a lot of good, didn't it? Yeah, it did a lot of good. A lot of good that it did, except it just cost them money and cost them employment, etc. July 4th attendance at Disney was particularly dismal, the Journal found. Disney's Hollywood Studios, which features Disney Star Wars attractions, saw its third slowest day of the past year on the 4th of July. And by the way, folks, we have that Park Place reporters on the ground at Disney World right now, and they tell us that it is quite deserted. And I will be in the parks soon, also doing some investigative journalism and talking with friends, pals, cast members, etc., and getting a handle on what exactly is going on here. This is a big story that we need to be discussing. Jamie Brown, a Walt Disney World annual pass holder who lives in Celebration, Florida, told the Wall Street Journal that she visited all 4 of the resort's theme parks during the week of July 4th. She said that she managed to easily patronize attractions that are normally in high demand, such as Spaceship Earth. Oh, come on, people. If you're going to list out rides that are usually in high demand, it's not Spaceship Earth. You know what? It is in high demand, but it has the throughput of a racehorse. This thing could take on untold vast numbers of crowds and eat them up with ease. You got to list out stuff that people actually want to go see and have long wait times, like Frozen Ever After, something like that. Come on, Jamie. I couldn't believe how light the crowds were, Brown told the Journal. The Post has reached out to the Walt Disney Company for comment, although we've already got the comment. Why are you reaching out for more? We've got Bobby. Bobby says it's hot. Bobby says it's too hot to go to Disney World. You got to stay inside. You got to go to Alaska, do an Alaskan cruise. Bobby says that's what's up. Too hot. All right, let's invite some people in who are not too hot right now. Oh, maybe they are. Depends on who you talk to. Adding to our pre-show, pro-show is Ozark Matt and Rob Weisenhunt. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. And are you buying the excuse from Bob Iger that nobody wants to go to Disney World right now, although they do want to go to Universal Studios because it's just too hot? It's too hot. Guys, explain to me exactly how it is that you travel about 10 miles and suddenly it's cool enough now for people to enjoy Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's cool enough for people to enjoy all the fun of Jurassic World. But by golly, you go down 10 minutes south down there and visit Pandora and Animal Kingdom, and it's just too gosh darn it hot. It's just crazy. Is this not the weakest weak sauce excuse you've ever heard?
Iger's got to make a lot of excuses right now, and he's typically a little. He can be an eloquent guy, but for the most part, most of these things are just words that don't hold water. So,
you know what, Rob? I wish, and this is why Bobby will never come on the show. I wish that interviewer had said, "Now, Bob, are you telling me that Universal Studios is not hot and Disney World is?" Because that's the kind of logic that you just, and these elites, they think they can just say this stuff and people will listen to it and believe it. And there's no way around it, right? You just get to say it, and then it's left alone. It's like, no. Because any kind of sane person would listen to that and go, oh, I see. So you're telling me that tourism, despite every other year on the planet, tourism suddenly fell off a cliff inside Florida because it's too dang hot. That what you tell me, Bob? That why Disney World's attendance is down? The entire state of Florida is losing people because it's too dang hot. We need a meme. Too dang hot, Bob.
They reference Spaceship Earth. I have been to the ride Spaceship Earth. I think I first was there in 1982 to Spaceship Earth. And I find that hilarious that ride is referenced. Most people don't really know Spaceship Earth is the Epcot ball. That's right. It is.
You mean it's not a giant golf ball?
I'm surprised they didn't name drop the World of Energy ride at this point, really.
Well, it once was and is no more.
It is no more, and it's sadly gone now.
So Matt, here's the deal. With Spaceship Earth, this is why it's so funny to me. Get people who actually know what they're talking about to do your interviews, like I do. By the way, both of you here phenomenally well educated on the facts on the ground. But when it comes to Spaceship Earth, this is a ride that is meant to just eat crowds like crazy. It never stops moving, right? It's a people mover. It has tremendous capacity. The line never stops. And so when you go into Epcot at the beginning of the day, yes, there will sometimes be a line because you'll have the people who don't know better. They go straight to that ride because it's the first thing they see. As the day goes on, though, by about 2 p.m., there should not be a line for Spaceship Earth because the crowds have generally moved farther into the park, and because it's just very difficult to build up any kind of a queue for this ride because it's continuously moving. You might think of it as like, it's very hard to build up a wait time for a walk-through attraction. Well, Spaceship Earth is about as close to a walk-through attraction as you can get because, again, the rides are always in movement. Now, the interesting thing to me about that is, I would like to know, is it easy now to get onto Rise of the Resistance? Is it easy now to get onto Flight of Passage? Is it easy now to get onto Soarin'? Answer to that last one is definitely yes. But instead, we get a Spaceship Earth quote, and we get a reference to a restaurant that not many people have even heard of. But guys, this is the kind of excuse level we've reached. They have just reinstated Iger. He's been extended out now until 2026. And he can drop these cute little answers for interviews such as this, where it's just too hot. But guys, I don't think this is going to work in the real world. It certainly would not work. They did not see the box office reductions coming, yet they've got a 70% reduction in total box office revenues from 2019 until today. They certainly did not see their reduction in subscribers happening. Remember, they had those milestones that were out in front of them that they were going to hit for Disney Plus, and then all of a sudden, they're losing hundreds of thousands of subscribers a quarter. We'll find out what's happened there. And the big discussion right now is that Iger apparently has portrayed that they may actually seek to sell ABC. That's huge news. The entire network of ABC could be for sale as they're trying to find some way to buy Hulu. And who could have ever seen that coming, where we'd find a day where Disney is trying to get rid of ABC so they can chase after Hulu?
That would be
I'm
great.
not sure it's a good deal.
I actually, as someone who is a fan of college football, and I'm forced to watch ESPN constantly in this giant monopolistic system that they've allowed to persist for so long, I look forward to that. I cannot wait until Disney is selling ABC, because to me that means ESPN is gone too. So,
well, I think they'll probably keep ESPN. I don't think they'll sell
they will
ESPN.
keep ESPN.
Right.
Well, integrated. The ABC will carry the ESPN broadcast during prime time on Saturday night. So they're a highly integrated thing. So
yes, it is going to be very messy as they try to untangle that, but it appears they're going to try.
Wow. It's just a mess. It really is. And Disney has its fingers in so much of our society and all of these things that I don't think people know that the web that they've woven and all the dominoes that are affected in this manner. But fascinating.
So Matt, tell me about your experiences this summer. For those who don't know, you were featured in a member spotlight video on the channel, and we talked about your travels across the Ozarks, across North America, always on a trail somewhere. So what have you been up to as of late?
I recently returned from Colorado and Wyoming, where America is in peak summertime activities. They are driving everywhere in and out of resort towns in Colorado where I stayed. You see license plates from everywhere. And it's interesting, the Iger quote as we began this stream, my experience in the last 3 to 4 weeks has been America's on fire with tourism, with people crowding restaurants, whether it's in my home city or the cities that I visit in the West, particularly this summer. So I see a high demand for places, visitors to parks like national parks, parks like amusement parks, all kinds, big and small. Even your local carousel, might be very crowded right now. So the United States is, I would say that we're having a weather event in Colorado right now. It's kind of difficult to travel around. There's a lot of hailstorms and certain things that we have to deal with, and it's unpredictable. But what I have seen is I've climbed a few mountains at 13,000 feet. I've gotten up early. I've been able to see a lot of neat things, and it just re-energizes my love of the United States and this country. And every time I go out and I travel, I meet a lot of people. And I this time I met a lot of people from not only the United States, but young people that work in the United States from all over the world who come into resort towns, and they staff hotels, they staff restaurants. They love being in the United States. They don't get a day off. They're making your sandwich in Gatlinburg at a Subway. They're seating you at a nice restaurant in Estes Park. And so it's fascinating how complicated our world can be. And if you don't get out and you see these people and you talk to them and see how it works, then you might be susceptible to others telling you how the world is. And so I always invite people to go out and see how the world is. If you think Spaceship Earth is a banging ride right now, go to Epcot. See if Bob's telling the truth.
There you go.
That's how you should start your day. So I just I'm super excited to be an American. I'm super fortunate to be someone who's mobile, who can travel, and I love going to places and coming back and telling folks, people in the audience, all the neat places in the United States. So if you haven't been to Colorado, if you haven't been to Rocky Mountain National Park, that's just pure America right there. So
Matt, share with us your top 3, though. If you had to pick 3 places this year that you were going to visit across America, what would those places be?
One is the Olympic National Park outside of Seattle. And this is a temperate rainforest, and it's a mountains to sea environment. And it's something that is a really special place that every American should be able to see. So the Olympic National Park and Forest outside of Seattle is a great place. Rocky Mountain National Park, I keep going back there. We have a highway that goes up to 12,000 feet in Rocky Mountain National Park. It's one of the highest elevation roads in America. And it's just one of the most scenic. And it looks like you're in Alaska up there. And because we live in the country that we live in, the road goes right up these mountains and anybody can drive up there. So I'd say Olympic National Park. I would say Rocky Mountain National Park. And I would say, how about one maybe people overlook, Petrified Forest National Park in northern
Talking about in Arizona?
Yeah, I've never been there. I'm going in the fall, and so
it's better that you're going in the fall than the summer.
Yeah.
If you think Bob is worried about heat down in Epcot,
no, you should hike the Grand Canyon from rim to rim in July, Bob. That's heat. Go to Death Valley in June or May. That's heat. And you can visit, anywhere in Arizona or New Mexico in the middle of summer. And so,
one of the funniest things that's happened to me in Death Valley, I was there one time and I left a little container of hand sanitizer in the car. And of course, I cracked the windows, so that it would be vented, but it was hot, of course. It was, dang it, it's hot, Bob. And when I came back to the car, that hand sanitizer bottle, now, I don't know if it had, I don't know if it was partially opened or how this happened, but the air was so dry and so hot that it had actually sucked that moisturizer or the sanitizer out of the bottle and had collapsed the entire bottle in on itself trying to pull the moisture out. And I said, whoa, maybe people aren't meant to live here. At least they're not made to sanitize here.
You can tell that the Disney production team, when they shoot Tatooine, they're addicted to a very easy location. And when you mention like Death Valley, and we mention like scenic parts of national parks in the West, if they really wanted to portray the Star Wars universe in a really neat way when they get their exterior shots outside, they would probably try to go to more places. And it just, you talking about your experience in Death Valley, I don't think I ever saw a shot in Death Valley. They could use Death Valley as a setting, or they could use settings in the United States to inspire them to develop stories or other alien worlds, but they just don't get out. They don't.
Well, that would be hard, and they're not into hard things.
Like Arches National Park, you would think that Arches National Park would be an iconic shot to land a spaceship right in front of.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's too much heavy lifting for the writers group.
Well, they're on strike now, so maybe they'll come up with some new locales to go to.
They're in the audience in between the barista time at Star Wars. This is what we suggest: go travel your country, go see neat things like Devil's Tower. They put Devil's Tower in Close Encounters in the First Kind, and it's iconic, and it's so amazing that why don't you reproduce that? This is America. We have an endless amount of these things. So,
all right, folks, that is a wrap on the conversation for today. Yes, Disney, get with the heat. You got to step it up a little bit. Those national parks, they're full of people, even though the temperatures are rising. Universal Studios packed out. SeaWorld can't even fit an orca in there anymore. But Disney, no. They do not have anybody there, and it's all because the heat. The heat is on. Well, folks, the heat is on you now to click that like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. We care about your thoughts. We covet your comments, and we really do care. And don't forget that this weekend we will be coming back to the Snow White situation. It's hilarious. It is the worst thing I have ever seen. It is parody level supreme. 7 hippies, perhaps. Maybe the Snow White and the horrible, horrible creatures of terrible body odor. I don't know. We'll come up with something, right? Frunky, Crunky, Drunky. I don't know what their names are. But anyway, get ready. It's coming. You're not going to want to miss that video this weekend and far, far more as we continue to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Cuz you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?